Hey, what's up, guys? It's MLG. This is a video response to Red Dice Diaries. I'm really late on this, but I think it's a good question, and I wanted to discuss it a little bit. And it's the idea is the three things I look for in an RPG. So, what are the three things I look for? The first one is systems. Like rules and what is you know what is this game, what does this game allow me to emulate through the rules. That is really, really important for me. So and I discussed that in my last video. Is the depth of a system, the depth of his intention, in terms of mechanic. So that's the first thing I would look for in an RPG. And what I want is basically, like, I like rules that portray the stuff that I want to do, or the stuff that the character should be able to do. And also they need to be aesthetically linked to the genre and the theme and all that. So it is complicated. I'm difficult on that, in that part. That's why I'm it you know when I mean that I like lots of rules, that I like my depth in an RPG, in that sense. It's not necessarily that they need to be complicated. Actually, I like them to be efficient. I don't want them to be clunky and all that. What I actually like is that you have many different kind of subsystems that allow for resolution. And so that is something that I look for in an RPG. And when these subsystems and resolution are tied to the theme and genre, it's dope, especially in a narrative matter. The second thing I look for in an RPG is genre and theme, and that I discussed that before, when I was discussing, like, how I buy my RPG, like how I buy the games that I buy. I'm not a collector. I am a little bit of a collector, but I control myself not to, because I don't have enough money. But I I'm a completist, but not so much, in terms of just doing it for the sake of it. So what I do is I research for the RPG that is gonna be my RPG, my go-to RPG for that genre. So, for example, my sci-fi RPG, my Western RPG, my horror RPG, my fantasy RPG, and I buy the game that will do it for me. That's basically what I do. That's why I was discussing that, and there's a lot of genre out there. There's a lot of themes, so it's a long process also of trial and errors. But eventually, I'll have a full collection of. You want to play a cowboy game? Ace is an 8. You want to play a sci-fi game? Mongoose Traveler. You want to play, and then I get the game for that, right? So yeah, so genre and theme. The difference between genre and theme is basically the goal of the game. Like, for example, sci-fi. There's different kind of animal out there. If I take Traveler Mongoose, the name is Traveler, so it is really a game about traveling in space. It's a game of exploration. So if you want to, that's the theme. So it's a genre is sci-fi, but the theme is exploration. And therefore, if you want to do an exploration sci-fi game, you use that one, for me at least. And if you want to do something like, I don't, transhumanism, sci-fi in space, I might gonna use another game like maybe Eclipse Phase or something. I don't know Eclipse Phase, but something that will do it better, right? So that's what I mean by that. So in terms of genre, genre would be the overall aesthetic, and theme would be the goal of the game, like the designer's intention toward that genre. So that's the second thing I look for. So when I was so it's and that's what I that's my my buying scale. This is where I, when I want to buy an RPG, this is what I use as a modus operandi. It's my modus operandi to to buy a game. This is where and then I look at the system, and if the system works, eventually I'll get it. Then the third thing I look for in an RPG, and this is the last one, and this one is more abstract, it's the aesthetic. So what I mean by aesthetic is many different things. Obviously the look of the game, the feel of the game, the quality of the product, but it's also and the art and all that, but not just that, it's also the the experience that's gonna come with it using it. So it's outside the fictional universe and the abstract realm of the rules and all that. Now I'm talking about what it feels like to manipulate that object. Is it well written? Is it something that it's a nice read? Is it something that feels good at the table? Is it that's what I mean by aesthetic. And also aesthetic in that sense will be surrounding the integration of genre and theme with the rules, like the mechanical integration of genre and theme. So now you see how it comes full circle. This is how I go for buying an RPG or playing a game or wanting to play a game. So a good example of that would be recently I posted in the RPG Brigade page, I posted, what is your go-to zombie game? And I received lots of different ideas. Some people go Fate, Cypher System, or they go generic. So some people go with different kind of game, classic games, and like All Flesh Must Be Eaten, and I received all kinds of games, and I was like, wow, that's nice. So I went and I got the PDF for all these games, and I started to read, and I realized that the one I want was Outbreak Undead 2nd edition. I was looking at the product, and Outbreak Undead 1st edition looks great. Outbreak Undead 2nd edition, the box set starter kit as a product looks amazing. And so I said, when I want to do a zombie apocalypse game, of survival horror, that's the one I will use. So this is how I look. So I look at the product, I started to read, and this one was the one with the most depth to it. He had rules to implement, sociological and rules to implement sociological situation toward the infection of zombies, stuff like that, like the evolution of the propagation of the viruses. They have rules for your stronghold. How does it handle the waves of zombies, stuff like that. So now it becomes interesting because you can take away the what I call GM fiat, where suddenly everything happens and it all falls down on someone's shoulder. Now you have rules. So all these little, so this is what I mean by rules that mechanically implement theme and genre. Rules that's gonna dictate stuff that happens in that theme. So in that sense, you have a stronghold, you have zombie apocalypse survival horror type of game. You have rules to express. It's really important. Rules that express the situation of that stronghold. Is it gonna help you survive, or it's gonna fall apart? So stuff like that really got me more into that Outbreak Undead, for example, recently. So now, what are the genre and theme that I'm looking for? So I have my fantasy. I have many of them. I have the dungeon crawl type of fantasy. I have the more narrative ones. I have high fantasy and dark fantasy, and I have them all for fantasy, so I'm good with fantasy. I don't care much about setting, right? That's important. I'm more of a theme guy. Then you have so I already have my sci-fi for Traveler. Now I might gonna need different kind of sci-fi. I've looked into different theme. I'm like, that's nice. So I'm gonna take a look. Maybe Blue Planet, stuff like that I've noticed that is really interesting. Cyberpunk, I still need Cyberpunk 2020 and Tech Noir that have really different way of doing the Cyberpunk. So these are the one that I'm gonna look for. I have Shadowrun. Shadowrun is a genre and a theme in itself. In terms of generic system, I'm not gonna talk about, but I'm looking for aces and 8 for my Western games. I'm looking for Outbreak Undead for my zombie survival horror game. I have Apocalypse World for my post-apocalyptic genre game. I have I'm looking for what are the genre that I like. I have World of Darkness, New World of Darkness for horror, and Dread for horror. They do things really differently, both of them for horror, but that's what I will go to do horror. What are the other genre that I would love to play? That's interesting. I'm like a blank. I'm blank right now. I don't know which one I would use, which one I need in terms of when I'm looking at games. In terms of genre that I want to play, I'm a really simple individual in that sense. Mifarog, actually, the post-apocalyptic one about conspiracy theory and all that. This one is interesting. But I don't. The problem that I have with this one is I would have loved to have a complete game, and not just a supplement in 2 books. That is, I talked with Tulian Perspective about that. But anyway, so yes, that's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in an RPG, and this is the ones that I'm looking at nowadays in terms of games that I want to buy, in terms of games that I wanna get to know better. I might gonna take a look at Eclipse Phase at one point, but we'll see. Alright, thank you for watching. Talk to you soon.